Yeah, I think I think college relationships or adult relationships more generally just require a level of intention to be able to make happen, right? Like you're not seeing people necessarily every day, or you're not seeing them in naturally social contexts, right? Like Sebastian, you're talking about classes, sometimes classes are social. More often than not, they're not though, right? And so it takes a little bit of work to make those things happen. And so I think in homeschooling, from a very young age, you have to be really intentional, right? And it takes a lot of work and be really motivated to make social interactions happen. And that's why I actually think like homeschoolers on average are actually far more socialized. They aren't necessarily doing as many social activities, right? But they're developing really key skills to be able to make social interactions happen. Because everyone wants to be social, right? Everyone wants to be with other people and in community. And so I think when I, got to college, it took a lot more work to make relationships happen, right? And to have a social life. But I think I already had a lot of skills around being able to actually be able to organize others, right? Organize myself, right? And be able to have that motivation and that intentionality. And so I think that was huge for me and incredibly helpful.
That's really interesting. So, homeschooling kind of gave you those social skills, even though it's not the classic social skills that people think of. It really helped you with adding others and forming those friendships.
Yeah.
Jessica, did you have a similar experience?
Yeah, I found that my homeschooling experience really forced me to communicate with people of all ages and all levels of intelligence. And one thing I found very interesting in college is that the upperclassmen and the lowerclassmen really stuck together. And if you were in a class that was primarily juniors and seniors and you were a freshman, like it would be that awkward, like the freshmen's just sitting there by themselves, kind of silent and like really awkward and feels the power dynamics. But something that I found is I was genuinely interested in everybody because I was used to talking to, like the little 4 year olds who are at the same program as me and the adults. So I did find that I tended to get along better with professors than a lot of my peers, simply because I think, like Sebastian, yeah, like Sebastian said, I wasn't interested in the drinking culture. I wasn't interested in the traditional party culture. So I did tend to spend a lot more time in the library or at coffee shops studying. So part of that was my own choice and just who I naturally gravitated towards. But the one thing I do regret is not joining social groups and like organizations sooner